Sharia, or Islamic law, is the guideline for all Muslims to follow. With the modern perception of the Islamic religion, however, it's been made out to be intolerant and old-fashioned, so it should be disregarded. But the idea behind the law says otherwise. Sharia is a word meaning path, right path, way, or way to water. For Muslims, it's the key to a correctly lived life according to Allah. Sharia is not one collected document of rules because there really isn't a set wording. At first it was only studied by scholars, but now the term Sharia law encompasses all Muslims' perceptions of the rules given in the Quran, which is why there is no one way of following it, except that these really aren't rules, but more of how Allah wants them to live. This is the reason it's more of a guideline that Muslims use to decide what they want to live by, like using Sharia to gauge just punishments for crime. Countries using Sharia law are able to choose which interpretations fit their goals best, since there are multiple. This is why the concept is so difficult to grasp for most people, because extremists following Sharia are the ones that are seen on TV or in the news for acts of violence like public whippings or executions. Most Muslims would not follow this because Sharia has changed and adapted as it has spread to different countries and modernization took over. The traditional, or literal, punishments are usually very extreme. Take, for example, had offenses, which are crimes associated with specific punishments, including lashing, amputation, and exile. They are taken straight from the Quran. See Chapter 2, verse 178, Chapter 5, verse 33, or Chapter 5, verse 38, which mention blood money, disobedience, and theft respectively. However, acts of hostility are not the norm. In a PDF of frequently asked questions from the Interfaith Alliance, one section asks if countries following Islamic law actually use these penalties today. No, these penalties are not allowed in 52 countries that make up the 57-nation Organization of Islamic Cooperation, encompassing most countries with a Muslim-identified government. In countries where extreme interpretations of Sharia are applied, stoning and amputations for adultery and theft are rarely used or enforced. Besides, punishment is only one component of Sharia. The law encompasses many aspects that one may encounter on a daily basis, like family and legal issues. Sharia is based on Hadith, which is the compilation of Muhammad's life, actions, and teachings collected by his followers. Going off the fact that Sharia is based off of Hadith, it can be considered both divine and man-made. Divine because it involves teachings directly from Muhammad and in turn Allah. Man-made because many of these directions are not given straight from Allah. For example, in What is the Truth About American Muslims, the question arises of the proper attire as stated in the Quran. The answer references the passage in the Quran that commands men and women to cover what is necessary, and for the women to hide their bodies from the public so they can stay pure for their husbands. It does not explicitly state that women should wear veils, but does stress the importance of modesty. From this comes the cloaking of women, which Muslims did not take from but derived from the Quran. This is one part of Sharia that is not associated with punishments. However, in an article from 2009, Syra Khan, a Muslim woman, stated that she believes veils are actually a device used by radical Muslim men to control women, except there are women who wear it out of free will because they want to. Thus, an example of Sharia law being taken to the extreme and used for the wrong purposes, creating a bad name for both the law and the religion. There is also an instance where Muslims living in Canada protested against Sharia law being used in the court systems of their country. This does demonstrate that Sharia is so complex that it's misunderstood sometimes even by Muslims themselves. However, people are being educated on Sharia. In an article entitled What the Hijab Means to Me, women share their feelings about wearing a hijab in today's world. Ifat Shazia says that wearing her hijab makes her happy despite its proclamation of her religion that caused her abuse after the Paris terrorist attack. Aziza Paladi Bello and Azirnar Mohammed say that the hijab provides comfort and protection for them. Though not all women may feel this way, this is proof that some definitely do. Mohammed bin Salman, Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, actually stated that women do not have to wear veils in his country. This is part of the truth that veils aren't required by Sharia and that different people may have different views of what Sharia really says. In Minneapolis, there was a case where a radical Muslim was trying to enforce ideas of Sharia used by terrorists and bearing symbols related to ISIS. The Muslim community in that area banded together and alerted the police of what he was doing, which goes to show that not all Muslims agree with those kinds of ideals. This misconception is still quite far from being cleared up, especially terrorists and extreme groups like ISIS using it for all the wrong reasons. So what can be done to make a wiser, more diverse and accepting world? The best thing to do is keep an open mind and not stereotype or make judgments without previous research. This goes for all misconceptions. Educate yourself about the topic and get the facts. Become acquainted with those of different religions and be accepting and willing to learn about their beliefs. It is through this that we will be able to overcome differences and work together. This is how we change the world.